What's your take on the bollard issue?
I think it's the same take that everybody has out there. The bollard had one job, and it failed to do even that. So I don't think there's much more to add. They had, from what I saw, 4 bolts that just connected it to the ground. It wasn't dug into the ground. And those 4 bolts are going to do nothing to protect you from one nut that sits behind the wheel of a car, as we just saw. So if anything, it's sadly too late now for the NAIA families that suffered there, but we really owe it to the future victims and the families of the victims now to do this properly next time. This is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. Aside from the bollards, Ali and I were also talking about just even the configuration of the ramp, because you have to park diagonally to let off your passenger, get your luggage, and bring it to the porter or whatever if you decide. Do you think also that the traffic scheme should also be corrected so that it's not parked diagonally, it should be parallel, where they said now that they're already considering that. But shouldn't that have been the case since before?
Yes, that's a very valid point. I mean, you just look at the direction of travel. You're correct. That should never really be facing that way. And as you were saying that, I was trying to recall my memories of previous airports around the world, and they all seem to have a parallel parking situation. That's just drawing from pure memory alone, though. But you're correct. I think that would definitely be one adjustment that they can make that would cost nothing. Just do some parallel parking curbside for the drop-off, and make sure that the bollards do their job. I mean, pangpakita lang yan eh.
Yeah. I was going to ask, I saw your post yesterday wherein you said maybe the driver slipped. I think you were referring because he was wearing slippers. Tell us, why is it dangerous to be wearing slippers if you are driving? Yesterday we also had Obet Martin, no? He's the head of, he's a public utility Jeep operator, and he said also, no, that unfortunately some jeepney drivers still use slippers while driving, and sometimes it can, get caught in the pedal of the gas or the brake. But maybe hearing it from you, what is the rationale why we shouldn't be wearing slippers while we're driving?
For the same reason. It's exactly as obvious as that what your friend pointed out. It's to prevent it getting caught in between the pedals, because you can see the gap between the foot and the slipper. That doesn't happen in a closed shoe. And, it's, people say, hindi, sanay na ako dyan. I'm so used to it. Yes, you're used to it in the same way that people who drive home drunk say, sanay na ako. Ilang beses ko na yun dumaan dyan. Kabisadong-kabisado. Yes, until it requires an emergency. Until a dog or a cat or a child jumps out in the street, and then your reflexes are totally fried from the alcohol. The same thing happens with the slipper. You might be used to it, but then in an emergency situation, when it counts, when it actually matters, sasabit yan, and then you've got a problem. So it's closed shoes. I checked the RA 4136. It doesn't explicitly say slippers prohibited, but there's language in there that could be interpreted as proper footwear and proper outfits. And there are public transportation companies that also have it in their own policies that you're not allowed to wear it. But if it's not explicitly mentioned in RA 4136, then it should. We should have an amendment in there, because we all know globally the standard is you do not drive barefoot or with slippers.
Does the sandals also count?
Sandals also count because it's an open, anything
heel.
that's open.
Yeah, anything that has an open heel.
Exactly. So once again, I go back to the point that you might 99 out of 100 times, it's perfectly fine. It's the 1 out of the 100 that counts. Just ask the Ford Everest driver. I don't know if that's what happened, but you can imagine that it's possible that it contributed to it. So why would you have it? Why would you even introduce that risk into what's already a very dangerous situation out there on the roads?
Let's get together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.